So today we will see something related to continuous integration. Okay. So
Okay.
what happens when we, how do we do continuous integration? So we'll see all those things. Okay.
Okay.
So before that, let's go to portal. So this is our Azure DevOps portal. So now what I'm going to do,
Can you share your screen?
sorry. So I'll show you how branching works in Azure DevOps portal. Okay. So I'm going to create a new project. Okay, let me get the project from there. So for continuous integration, I have one lab opened here. So what we are going to do, we are going to perform the prerequisites first. So now what if you remember, oh God. So if you remember for regarding continuous integration, what did I mention? Continuous integration you can set up in many ways. Either you can make sure that the moment any new commit occurs, then you should run the continuous integration pipeline so that it can create a new build. Or you can also say that the moment merge happens in master, then run the build. Okay, so we'll see one of them right now. For that, we will copy one project. We will use one project from here. Let's get one. Oh, sorry. Okay, let it be. It will create a new organization. We'll choose a template. Which template we need to choose? Parts Unlimited. So this is one of the project that I'm selecting. Because right now we don't have many of the codes, right? So we need to get code from the um, Azure repo itself, the public Azure repo. So that is where I'm getting the code from which we are going to see how we can set up the CI. So I'll create the project. Let me create a new organization here itself. What do I have here? Hold on. Okay, nothing is here. Great. So we'll use this. Choose templates, parts unlimited. So we'll create the project. Once the project is created, I can see what happened. Okay. Let's use this. There is some issue with it. So the moment we see this CI, after this, I will show you how to use the same thing to deploy ARM templates. Remember the ARM templates for creating the infrastructure in Azure. So we will do that as well using CI/CD pipeline. Okay. How's the situation there regarding this?
Actually, they closed all the theaters, schools. Even I think offices also from next week it will not operate. Most of the people are asked to work from home. How is
Same
that?
situation.
Okay.
Same situation. Here, there are still some bullshit offices where they haven't done this.
Oh, so how about yours?
Mine, they have already implemented it.
You're currently working from home then.
Yeah, yeah. It's been almost even before Corona, not before Corona. Even I think it will be more than 1.5 week. I'm working from home, almost 10 days.
And what about theaters?
Theaters and everything. I hear that everything has been closed.
You know in Pune, right?
Yeah, Pune.
Okay, okay.
Today I hear that almost everything will be closed, even the shops. This is here. See, we got the Parts Unlimited project.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to the repository of this. So you remember we saw this repository as well, right? How
Yes.
to, let's again navigate. So this is the organization. See, the top level is organization. Remember, huh? The topmost level is organization. Just below the organization, we have the projects. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll go to this project, and from here I can select the files, what all commits have happened, what all pushes have happened, branches, almost everything I can check here. Let me go to files. So now how I can create a new branch. Right here also I can create a new branch. I can simply go here. There are already many branches. There are already many branches. I can also create a new test branch as well. If I say that create a new branch, test unlimited, if I say this, okay, I don't want to link anything. So if I create a new branch, now this branch is created. I am in test unlimited branch. What I can do, I can clone the master as well. So how to clone it to VS Code? Simply go to clone. Clone in VS Code if you open, what happened? Clone in VS Code, opens Visual Studio Code, then it will open up your Visual Studio Code and it will clone everything right here. Repository location, which I should give. Let me give the 10. Okay. So it is cloning the repository right now. I have to sign. I'm using my friend's account because mine has expired.
Okay. This is valid for 30 days, 90 days, I think, right?
Which one? No,
Developers.
30 days.
Oh,
30 days, 30 days. Your free subscription is valid only till 30 days, not beyond that.
oh, even developers.com also.
Everything. Because everything we are using free subscription, right?
Okay.
I think coronavirus more than spreading in real world, it's spreading in WhatsApp.
True.
Yeah, man, that is true.
Making memes.
Memes are there almost in every way it is spreading.
Making fun simply.
Yeah. When Corona will make their fun, then they will understand. Okay, so we have cloned the repository. See, the entire repository we have cloned right here, right? See, everything is here. So we have the repository here. Okay. So now what we are going to do, we are going to see how CI works. That is our main goal, to see the working of CI.
We cloned remote to On-premise.
cloned the entire repository to here.
Okay.
Okay, so I've cloned everything here, and the main goal is to see how CI works, means continuous integration, so that whenever I do any change here, automatically the build should get triggered here in Azure DevOps.
Okay.
The build should get triggered.
Okay.
Okay, so now next what we are going to do, we have the entire project. Okay, now we will create a pipeline. Now we will create a new pipeline. Okay, so now you will get to see how we create a pipeline. We have methods to create pipeline, but we are going to see only through this editor, a classic editor, not YAML, because YAML is again another coding part. Where it is. So we will go to pipelines. We'll create a new pipeline. What it says. Pipelines, new pipeline, where it is. So we will use classic editor. See, it gives you multiple options. Leave it as it is. Use the classic editor because it will give you a very good UI. Okay. So I'll use all the default options, parts unlimited, everything. Parts unlimited, master. Let me pull it here. So continue. Now what I'm going to do, how to remove this. So next we are going to say, because see our project that we are going to create is ASP.NET. So that is why we will select, see, remember I told you there are multiple templates to be selected. So these are the templates. The featured templates are .NET, Android, ASP.NET. If I want to use Azure Resource Manager, if I type Azure, then there are Azure Cloud Services, Azure Functions for .NET, Azure Functions for PowerShell, Azure Functions for Python, Azure Web App. So these are all the multiple templates that I can choose to create a pipeline. Okay. So these are the templates for entire pipeline, remember. Now I'm going to create a ASP.NET pipeline, okay? Because my application is based on ASP.NET. So I want to create ASP.NET pipeline. Perfect. So now my pipeline is, okay, let's see what all things we got. When we talk about creating Azure DevOps pipeline, and when we select one of the template, we have option to select a empty template as well. But here we have selected Azure, ASP.NET pipeline, right? When I talk about creating ASP.NET pipeline, then automatically some tasks get populated. I don't need to create them one by one. If you see, automatically multiple tasks got populated, right? But if I go, no, leave it. So currently just have a look at this. Use NuGet. Why do we need NuGet? NuGet is to create the, what do you say? It's a kind, it's like Maven. Maven helps us to build Java project. NuGet helps us to build .NET projects. Okay. So test the assemblies, publish system path, publish artifact. Now, what does this publish artifact do? If you remember when I told you that what build does, build creates a executable of your code, right? Which you can directly test. So now you have tested it. Build created your executable, you tested it. Now after testing, you have the code that is, you have the package that is ready to be deployed. Then it is published as an artifact. Okay, where it can be published, wherever you want. You can also publish it in a code drop. You can publish it in a artifactory drop. You can use external artifactory as well. Artifactory as in the ready to deploy code. Wherever you want, you can store it. Either you can store it in Azure DevOps default artifactory, or you can use your public artifactories as well. There are multiple artifactories that we can select from, which we will definitely talk about. What is artifactory? What are other different Artifactories that we can use? So we have many of them, which we will definitely look into. The another thing that we will look into will be the Jenkins as well. So integration of Jenkins. So remember one thing, when we talk about creating a pipeline, we have build and deploy, right? Build, test, and deploy. We can have our build in Jenkins, drop the artifact in some Artifactory, pick the artifact from there and deploy it in production environment or staging environment using Azure DevOps. Okay, hold on. I think is it getting confusing?
Yeah, I might
Tell me.
understand. Yeah, correlate.
Little bit, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me get my drawing tool ready. Just give me 2 minutes. I think here we need the diagrams. These concepts are definitely little bit confusing. Artifactory, artifacts, these are confusing. So from tomorrow we are having complete lockdown, most probably. All the shops, everything has been instructed to close.
Then how,
144 have been imposed here, so that no gathering occurs.
then how can you have your food?
At least we have stock, so big basket is also there for rescue. Hopefully, we will not die in hunger.
No, I think it's not that serious in India, but maybe they want to stop it in 2 weeks.
Yeah, the thing is that they want to contain it actually. They don't want to.
Like Italy.
Yeah, let's. Okay. See, now, suppose this is. Okay, let's talk about pipeline. Okay. So this is my entire pipeline. This is my entire pipeline. Now what happens? Here is your repo. Be it in Azure, be it outside, wherever you want. It is your Git repo. The moment user checks in, commits the code, the moment user commits the code, build happens, right? What happens here? It creates a executable of your code. Executable of your code. Then it goes and tests the code. Right? Testing happens. Now, see, this is only the integration part, CI part, only the continuous integration part. Build and test and publish the test results. Then what happens? Your test results are published. Test results are published and your build is then dropped in a Artifactory. What is it? It is artifact. What is artifact? The ready to deploy code. With all the dependencies and all the binaries. So it is ready to deploy code. Now see, after this, what happens? Your deployment happens, right? Deployment.
So Artifactory is a kind of place, right?
Yes, it is a kind of storage, we can say.
Okay.
Okay, there are multiple other Artifactories as well. So for now, just remember, know that there is a default Artifactory of Azure DevOps as well, where we drop the artifact. Okay. Now what happens? You can have this. Yeah, where is my pointer? Here. So you can drop the. You can have this in Jenkins as well. And from Jenkins, you can drop the Artifactory anywhere. But let's say that it is dropping the Artifactory in Azure DevOps. Okay. What it is doing, it is dropping the artifactory in Azure DevOps, artifact in Azure DevOps. Your build and test runs in Jenkins. What it does, it drops the ready to deploy code in Azure DevOps Artifactory. Okay. So now what happens from Artifactory, your code is taken by CD pipeline. This is CD, continuous delivery pipe, continuous delivery. Okay. So CD takes your, as in pipeline only, CD, which is also a part of your pipeline. CD takes your code, the ready to deploy code, the artifact, and it deploys it here in production or staging. This is how the entire workflow happens. So Artifactory can be any place, be it AD or any other. AD as in Azure. So it can be anywhere. It's not necessary that your artifact should be there in Artifactory should be always there in your Azure DevOps. Even it is not necessary that this can also happen vice versa. CD may happen in Jenkins and CI may happen in Azure DevOps. That is also possible. So we are going to see this integration as well using hooks. We'll see, this will be our last lecture. When we see this integration, when we integrate Jenkins and Azure DevOps, that will be the last topic of our course. After that, we will close it. Okay, remember, if you remember from the previous class, CI is build and test. Okay, remember this. CI is build and test, after which your artifact gets generated. The artifact which gets generated, it can either be on your Azure DevOps default artifactory, or it can be in any other artifactory. Okay, then from artifactory, the artifact is taken and deployed to staging or production. That is called a CD, part of your pipeline. And what does CD does? It releases your code, right? Because after the test results are ready, this artifact which is generated, this is a release which is ready to be, so sorry, after staging, you have, suppose you have done up to this part only, up to this deployment part, you have only deployed your code in staging. Okay. Now you have a new release that is ready to go to production. Or even suppose this is your production, then instead of artifact will come right here. Right after test, your artifact will come. Artifact will be tested. Artifact, after testing, your artifact is ready. Then this artifact as a release will be deployed to a production environment. There is a very thin line between artifact and release. Artifact is the ready to deploy code. Release is the ready to, what do you say? The ready to deploy feature in production. You can release as in, you can think of the Windows releases, you can think of the patch releases. Okay, because before any code becoming a release, it is an artifact, which is always tested first. Okay, remember, artifact is the ready to test or ready to deploy code. Even after build, we can say that artifact is generated. After build, artifact is generated. So because if we are only creating CI pipeline, see, artifact can be generated at any stage. Now I say this is GitHub. You build your code, and after building, you drop it in Artifactory. This is also called artifact. Okay. Now, once you pull the artifact from here, test it. Let's remove the confusion. don't think of that as an artifact. After the test, whatever is generated, think of it as a release. Let's remove that confusion. Let's not talk about that, because it will, because if you explain to someone, then it will again create confusion. Let's just think, let's just create a thumb rule. After build, artifact is generated. Okay, what does build do? Creates artifact. Okay, this is entire CI. After completion of CI, release is generated. Spelling mistake. After this, release is generated, which is ready to be deployed to production. This is the artifact that is generated. This is the ready to test code. Release which is generated, which it is ready to deploy code. Okay, release is ready to deploy code. It creates release. Now release is deployed in production or staging. Okay, remember it this way. This is the simplest one. Let's not confuse it. Build creates artifact. The entire CI creates release. Release is deployed in production. Okay, release is the ready to deploy code, and artifact is the ready to test code. Okay, and artifact goes where? In an artifactory. It can be AD artifactory or others. Anywhere it can be. Let's go back there. So this is my pipeline. See, I have use NuGet, which will build my code. Okay, it will restore all the dependencies. It will restore all the code. Whatever is required, it will bring it in my repo. Whatever is required to test the code, and then it will build the solution. After building, the code is ready to be tested, right? Now test the assemblies, then publish the artifact, as in whatever the artifact that will be generated. Think it as a release. Whatever the release will be generated, publish it somewhere so that it is ready to be deployed. Okay. Now let's see what all other steps. Any confusion till now?
So all this will happen in pipeline only, right?
Everything happens in pipeline.
Okay.
Okay, remember that. Everything is happening in pipeline. So these are all the steps that we have. Now we will go to variable, and what we need to give in variable. See, let's go to variable. See, if you asked me someday that how will we define the variables, right? So we have the variable section here. Now this is the variable section. These are the variables which you will pass before running the pipeline. Now suppose you want to also pass some variables while running the pipeline, as in save and queue. When you do, then you want to pass the variable. How will you do that? The simple way to do that is go here. See, if there might be some keys which you don't want to expose, right? You can hide the keys using lock. If I do lock, then it hides whatever is written here. It makes it as asterisk. Okay, let me show you what I mean. Whatever is here, I want to hide it. I'll simply lock it. See, it's hidden. Now I want to make sure that when I create the release and when I create the pipeline, when I run the pipeline, then it should be called. Then it should ask me that these are the variables. Please provide your input. Settable at queue time. If you check this mark, if you check this box, then what happens? That variable, the value of that variable will be asked to you during the run of pipeline, as in when you queue the pipeline. Okay, when you queue the pipeline, those things will be asked to you. Okay, this is how we mention the variables: variable name and the variable value. If you check the lockbox, if you select the lockbox, what happens? It hides your value of the variable. If you select the checkbox, what happens? it makes sure that when you create the release, then it asks you for that for the value of that particular variable. Okay, this is what settable at queue time means. Okay, we'll come to variable groups again later on when we go into much deep. Now, what else I need to explain? Yes, the most important thing. This was the variable section. This is the main section which I wanted to explain. Triggers. If you enable continuous integration, only then your pipeline will run automatically the moment you change the code here. If you select this, it means you are enabling continuous integration. Now, in which case, in which scenario you want to enable continuous integration? Which branch, for which branch? I say that for master branch, enable this continuous integration. Okay, include master branch. So now I have enabled it. What else I need to explain? Yeah, options tab. So by checking this, you can see, you can also select other branches. Okay, there is no restriction. You can select other branches, but I have selected master because right now I am going to show you if you commit anything in master, then what happens here. There are some options as well. Let's see what all options are there. Build job, define build job authorization and timeout settings. You can say that build job authorization scope, project collection within the entire project collection as in all the projects. Enable continuous integration across all the projects in organization. Okay, the build job. The authorization scope will be across the projects in my organization, which is Keshav DevOps. Build job timeout in minutes. Let's not keep this much. Let's keep just in minutes, right? Just 2 minutes. Suppose if it is not able to run the build, then it should fail within 2 minutes. Don't wait till 60 minutes or 70 minutes. Because what happens, you pay for the minutes you use in Azure DevOps. Okay. Your payment is as per the minutes you use. So free one you should be using very precautiously. Cancel timeouts 5. Let's make it 1. No, let it be 5. It means that till what time you can cancel your job. Till 5 minutes you can cancel your job. After 5 minutes you cannot. Let me make it 1 because my build timeout itself is 2 minutes. So within 1 minute you can cancel it. Okay. So these are some options which you can select. Now you can provide the description of your build, that what it does. Build number format. You can say that use date. Okay. Because build number which will be generated. See, whenever we queue a release, whenever we queue a build, it gets a particular name, it gets a particular number. So what does this mean? This is what I am using a macro. This is a variable. Okay. If I put brackets outside the variable and then dollar, it means a macro. In PowerShell, how we define variable? Simple dollar var, right? But in Azure DevOps, we write variables this way. After dollar, we mention bracket, and then within bracket, we mention the variable. Okay. Enable queue and start builds when eligible agents available. Obviously, if agents are not available, how can we run the build, right? We cannot. Now, rest of the options, automatically link new work in this build, complete successfully, create links to all the work items linked to the associate changes. Means if I want to create a multiple staged pipeline, what does multiple stage pipeline means? Let me show. See, here currently this is only single stage pipeline. When we create a multiple stage pipeline, I'll show you. You can link multiple single job pipeline. Create the job, then a new job will be created. This is the job. These are the tasks within one job. These are the tasks. Okay. History, we will get the history here whenever it runs. You can retain the entire logs till the time you want. The moment I change something, when the moment I commit something in master, when I sync it, automatically the build will start. I don't need to start it manually. Okay, what else I need to explain? I don't want to retain history. Anything else? Okay, we are ready to run it. Now, how to run it? Just do save and queue. Okay, let the options be default. Let it be default options as of now. Let's save and run it. Let's see what happens. So now what I have done, I have run the build. See, now my job has been created. It has been queued, right? So my job has been created here. I'll go here. I can check the logs right here. See, one by one, it will start doing. See, if you remember, we had multiple tasks in our job, right? We had multiple tasks. So it is running them one by one. Let's go back. See, it's running the tasks one by one. If any error occurs, you can trace back the logs and get to know what has happened. It's running. Okay, so this is the build that we ran. Now we will see the automated build as well. That how the automatic build happens. See, regarding the Azure DevOps material, the PPTs that I will share with you, they are completely in detail. Okay, you don't need all the PPTs, so I will refine them. I'll filter them and send it to you. You don't need all of them. Like you need this second one completely because it has the details of CI and CD. Also, Git is there. So you need this. I'll send it to you. Whatever is required for you, I'll send them.
Okay. Yeah.
And Docker also little bit is left.
Okay.
So what all things I need to send you? I need to send you the Docker material. GitHub, I think I sent you all the scenarios, right? And also some command cheat sheet also I've sent you.
Yeah.
Then rest Git theory, you will get it in these PowerPoints. They are quite detailed PowerPoints, so you need not worry about that. They're quite detailed ones. They are not like short PPTs. So you see everything is written here. Almost everything you will get here. They are quite in detail. And delete the copies. Let's see if it has succeeded. Yeah. Build status for commit. It's done. Our build has succeeded. Everything green means our build has succeeded. Just there was one warning. You can just check. Warning means you need not bother about much. Okay. You can skip the warnings. The way we do in our day-to-day life, right?
Yeah.
Now what we will do, we will go ahead in repos, we'll go in files, which file we can change. Let me see. Parts unlimited, source, website, views, home, source. Views, home, and which one? Index HTML. Okay, here we are. So we'll do some editing here. Okay. Here I will do some changes. Let me edit it. You can see, you can edit the file directly from here, or you can also edit from here. This editing we will see when we see the ARM template. But for now, let's see it from here. I'll change it, maybe default home. Let it be. Now, moment I commit, I should see the build getting triggered. Okay, let's see if it got triggered. Pipelines. See, the moment it gets updated, my build will get triggered.
Yeah.
See, it has started, right?
Okay.
Here's one, see. Automatically my build got triggered. I didn't have to go ahead and do it manually. Why did it happen? Because I enabled the continuous integration. That is the only reason it happened.
Okay.
So I don't have to go and perform it again and again. Once I enable continuous integration, automatically my build gets triggered when I change anything. Right? I don't need to do, I don't need to come here again and again and then trigger the build. So automatically my build has happened now. So let's see what else we have. So related to artifact, your confusion is clear, right? Artifact and release.
Yeah.
Artifact is the ready to test code, and release is the ready
Deploy.
ready to deploy, ready to deploy production.
Yes.
Releases are always ready to be deployed code in production. Okay, artifact can be two. I might have done some mistake while explaining this. Artifact can be two. Artifact can be either ready to test code or ready to deploy code in staging for further testing. Okay, both of them can be artifact. But release can only be one. Because release, when we say, it means the final release, which is going to be live. Let's go back and see what all we have. We were in second one, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, we did this as well. Yeah, we did this. Yes, we talked something about agent pools as well, isn't it? Now, where exactly they are? See, if I say this deployment groups, if I go here, okay, I can add a new deployment group. Now, what does this deployment group means? See, available pools, if I see, I have only one pool, which is also offline. This is the agent pool, the available agent pool. Groups, I can create a group of agent pools. This is where you configure the agent pool. If I go ahead and create new, I can create a new deployment group. Why do we group? Why do we need deployment groups? Suppose there are 1,000 of servers, 1,000 of servers where you want to perform some task. Let me take example, sending a particular maybe package update, 1,000 servers. Now you cannot run pipeline for all the 1,000 servers at once, right? It's forever to complete. What you will try to do, you will try to do that in phases, right? Today you will maybe one build you will use, maybe one pipeline One run you will do for 10 servers, another run you will do for 10 servers. So in a batch of 10 servers, you want to perform your task, right? So if you want to perform your task in a batch of, so to create that batch, we need deployment groups. Or suppose you have maybe 100 machines. Suppose you have 100 machines in test, you have 100 machines in prod, you have 100 machines in staging. You create the group here, or test and staging. So then what happens if I add a deployment group here? Suppose description, the group of test servers. If I create it, so what I have to do, whichever servers will be there within this particular group, I have to go there and run the script in PowerShell so that I can make them join my agent pool. This is the agent pool that I have to create. Okay. So targets will be visible here then. So I don't have any server right now, right? Which I can add it here. I can create a server and add it here. I don't have it, so that's why I cannot go ahead and run anything right now. So test is there. I have to go here and use the script, run it in my machine where by installing VSTS agent, and then make it join my this particular deployment group. Now, what is that? You remember the agent pool that we talked about, right? So suppose there is a, right now, recently we created a build related to ASP.NET project, right? Now, suppose I want to add a self-hosted agent in this group. Then which machine do I need? If I want to run the same build in my self-hosted agent, which machine do I need in this particular test group? Do I need a Windows machine or I need a Linux machine? What do you think? Which machine should I need? Huh? Pardon? I can't hear you.
I mean, Linux or Windows is fine.
Is it? What is the application based on?
Just based on OS?
No. Application is based on .NET, right?
Yeah. Okay, then Windows. Yeah.
Obviously. Remember, agent is completely depend on, hold on, huh?
Yeah.
Agent, the agent which you are creating, remember the agent that you are adding here, in those agents, your pipeline will run. Those agents will be used to run your pipeline. Now, what your pipeline will do, your pipeline will build the code and test the code. Now, if you are trying to test a .NET code, can you test it in Linux machine? No, right? You need to have the Windows machine to do that. Because why do you need Windows machine? You need Visual Studio. You need .NET framework, right? You have to have .NET framework, Visual Studio in your agent machine so that your pipeline can run in that particular agent machine. So that is why the agent machine that you will add here for the recently created project that we just built, we need Windows machine, right? Only then it will run.
Yes.
Java can, if we have Java, then we can definitely create Linux machine as well, because we need Maven for Java, right?
Yeah.
With that. So be very careful while creating your agent machines. Agent machines will completely dependent on the type of code that you are going to build and test or deploy. It's completely dependent on that. Now, if you want to run your Ansible playbook in agent, if to run Ansible, you need Linux, right? You want to run Docker, both the machines, no, not both the machines. If you want to run Docker, you want to deploy containers, you need Linux machines again. So agent machine completely depends on the type of deployment that you are going to do. Okay, because your pipeline, the task that will run through your pipeline, you have to check what type of tasks are they. Are they related to the build of .NET application? Are they related to the build of Java? Are they related to deploying containers? Are they related to deploying ARM templates? If it is ARM templates, either Windows machine or self-hosted agents will do. Sorry, Azure hosted agents will do. Azure hosted agents are available for every type of deployment. Okay, for every type of deployment, Azure hosted agents are there. So today we have just seen a very simple CI. Okay,
Yeah.
and in next session we are going to see the deployment of Azure VM using ARM template through pipeline.
Okay.
We can do in our next session.
Yeah.
And then I will show you how you can use the variables to pass parameters, how to use the parameter file and variable file separately. Almost everything we will see. This was the very simple pipeline that we saw today. In next session, we are going to create little bit more complex than what we saw today. Whatever we will see through this Azure DevOps Lab, they are not going to be very complicated. The one that I will be showing you using Azure ARM templates or using PowerShell inline scripting, they will be little bit complex than what we are going to see through this. Okay. So for now we will wind. If you have any questions, just ask before winding up.
For continuous deployment, what are the external tools we use? Maven? No, right?
No, it's not.
External tools for
It's not
deployment.
restricted to use Maven or anything, but continuous deployment is the later step of this continuous integration. It is like deploying your code in production or staging.
Yeah. Okay, so we use
Either
some
you use
external tools
.NET,
for AWS.
either yeah, we use either Azure Cloud, either we use our own machines for deployment. It doesn't matter which machine you.
Okay.
It, as I said, it's completely dependent on the type of application that you are deploying. .NET, we generally try to either use access of Azure or we try to use Windows Server, right? So it depends on the type of nature of application that you are trying to deploy. Because we cannot go ahead and deploy, what do you say, .NET in Linux, right? So that is the reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will you ask for any specific? Usually, it's up to the DevOps engineer who will select it, or
Yes, definitely. You have to select it. This is the training environment we are using, right? In real-time environment, you will have multiple hosted agents, multiple self-hosted agents. No doubt, I will show you one of the agents myself, how to host it. I will show you myself. One or two agents I will try to show you. But in production, you will not only have one or two, you will have multiple agents. So how to use the agent, how to use the deployment groups, how to tag the deployment groups. We will see almost everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.